Guess who's back? Botched is back. Let's go to work.
Another season of Botched. August 3rd cannot come soon enough. Can you tease the most shocking surgery that we're going to be seeing this season? Because I remember the first season and I'm like, is this even possible? People walk around like this? And then it just gets crazier and wilder and more extreme every season.
Can I brag about you for a second?
Oh, yeah.
So, normally all the seasons I do the most difficult, most shocking surgery because I'm the best there is. No, I'm kidding. This season, Paul takes on a case of a woman who had a tumor on her face that started to rapidly grow. She was from another country. She went to their university to have this removed. They opened her up. It bled so much they just did what I call a peek and treat. They just closed her up and said, forget it. And for the next 7 years, it just grew. And it started up in her upper cheek and below her jawline. Paul took her to the operating room with a team, okay, and did some genius type work, life-changing, maybe the case of the entire series.
Yeah. I might as well kind of toot my own horn. Woo-hoo.
Why do you think Ozempic has become the talking point in Hollywood and this whole weight loss thing?
Because it's a miracle breakthrough for obesity. And obesity not only is the #1 risk factor for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer, it also is a weight loss breakthrough that you can use if you're 5 pounds overweight or 50 pounds overweight. And people have to stop making people feel bad about being on these drugs. Stop Ozempic shaming. It's not nice. It's dangerous because people aren't talking about the side effects. So we're not really learning about how to use them in people who aren't that overweight.
Are there any other jarring side effects that we'll see down the road for people who are doing this?
Pancreatitis. If you go on these Ozempic type drugs and you drink too much, particularly as the dose goes up every 4 weeks, people who have an innocent amount of alcohol, maybe that 2 drinks that you would have on a Saturday night, are putting people in the hospital. This is happening all the time. We're not talking about it. We're just learning about it. And the problem with Ozempic shaming is people won't admit to this, so they're not able to teach other people their experience with it.
Is there such thing as a safe weight loss drug? Is it even possible for people to safely take these weight loss drugs?
Listen, I mean, when it comes to weight loss drugs, there's always going to be risk with any drug you take. As long as you do it appropriately and you're monitored by a physician that knows how to take care of those things and monitor. But again, it's the patients that are taking these drugs that don't want to tell anyone, and they're getting them some other way, and they're just using it without the proper supervision.
At the end of the day, we don't know exactly the answer to that question. I think these drugs are safe if used carefully, properly, and you manage your eating very, very specifically. They're getting better and better. There's a new one about to come out that's even better and faster. 3 hormones instead of 2. It's here to stay. This is the new Botox, and it's for obesity instead of wrinkles.
Dr. Dubrow, you and your wife, Heather, you've been married for 27 years now, is that right?
That's right.
Unheard of in Hollywood. Especially recently with so many splits and separations. I'm sure you're seeing that all in the headlines. What's been the key to the success with a relationship like this?
Well, I think Heather might give a slightly different answer, but in my view, the key is learning how to fix your disagreements. In other words, learn how to fight well, okay? And learn when to do it and when not to do it. Friday night at 11 p.m., when you have some alcohol on board, is never the time to argue. Ever, ever, ever. Save it for Saturday morning. The other piece of advice is, most of the stuff you're arguing about is insignificant. Let the small stuff go. Just let it go. Find your inner dolphin and let it roll off your back.
I like that. We also want to say congratulations on just having a home where your children are comfortable enough to speak with you about anything. I know your youngest child also came out as transgender. How have you and Heather supported them?
Well, you've got to form a kind of home environment that's accepting and loving and supportive. Don't judge, listen, don't talk, okay, many times. But you got to be very careful because there's a lot of hate out there. So you have to be very careful to enwrap them and envelop them in love and support. We hope that the message that we put out with our family helps those who are struggling in families that aren't so supportive, and particularly in parts of the country where there's a lot of sort of pushback on living a person's, real life.
They feel like they've been received well by the public?
They are doing very, very well. The kids look at social media differently than we do, fortunately. So the stuff that at our stage that we all have access to, they're not seeing a lot of it, fortunately. Because I think it would be much more difficult if they could see it. They could see it, but they don't follow the stuff that we follow. So the hate that's out there that hopefully will ultimately evolve and go away is not really in their world, which is a good thing.
Dr. Nassif, I want to ask you this. You also have a beautiful family as well. And judging by the engagement on Instagram, I mean, people really can't get enough of you and your wife, Brittany. She's absolutely gorgeous. Has she ever been approached or, thought about being on one of the Real Housewives franchises?
We've never been approached. As a matter of fact, our executive producer, Alex, is the one who runs a couple of them, obviously. And he's never mentioned it to me. I think we're too boring. Because we're not going to go in and argue and, and do all that and start up, and really get into it. I got to tell you, though, Brittany can be very saucy, though. So if you mess with her, she sure can. I can tell you that. And I told her, I go, listen, I don't want to do that. I don't think I'd ever do something like that again, especially if you look at my background with this. Adrian and I think being on a reality show, it did speed up our demise and divorce. I think it was going to happen anyway. Eventually. I mean, now we're doing very well together, Adrian and I. We're co-parenting, and I've talked to her at least probably 5-6 times a week. I even talked to her before coming here. So, which is a good thing, by the way, for our kids. So I don't see that happening now. She's been on like this season. She'll come on a Botched, bring the baby, do something fun, but that's about it, I think.
I think what happened was when Adrian saw Paul on TV take his shirt off and jump in the pool with that belly and the back hair, relationship was over right then.